Oh no, you want to go to the private world?
Strategic point.
Evil
This
Panda 3, please
strategic
don't
point
leave
of
me.
Crabopolis had to be maintained
Please don't
by
leave
many
me.
of the crab deities,
You're the only friend I have.
dads, the daddy crab daddies, and even the lobsteropolis.
When do I get involved in
These
this?
lobsteropolis, excuse me,
What's up, dude?
Mr. Penguin.
Yep.
Well, it'll take a little bit more. It'll take about 300 to 400 more years until
time is it?
the penguins
Tomorrow.
first showed up in the Crabopolis region.
Okay.
And that would be because the penguins were consuming all of the shrimp and krill in the ocean, you see.
Yeah, I
They
did see
were
it.
wondering where all the crustaceans had gone. And they thought that the shrimp and krill could have possibly gone extinct, which is exactly what happened. You see, there was a massive population boom, a baby boom, if you will,
Baby
within
boom,
the
I get it.
penguin species around the year 2754.
Oh my god, he left again. What happened?
2754 would be one of the first birthings of the great emperor penguin Pingus III. Now, Sir Pingus III wanted an absolute totalitarian state to be ruled by his penguin beings, you see.
Yes, I did
He
see it.
believed in the concept of what's manifest destiny. Manifest destiny. You see, Sir Pingus III believed that the penguin people should own all of the land from the deep sea state all the way up to the Antarctic region where the penguins had been. But Sir Pingus III didn't realize that he was going up against not only the top daddy crab daddy, but also the first lobster Hitler during this era. Now, it's important to note, Lobster Hitler had multiple different reverends and ideologies of what he wanted to do. Not only did he want to create an Aryan race, maintaining the crustacean capital as a whole of only lobsters, but what he wanted to do was take out all other opposing groups, such as Sir Pingus III.
Yeah.
Now, Sir Pingus III knew of this very early on, thanks to an intergalactic phone call that he had placed, you see.
I do see, okay.
Exactly.
I'm following along.
Exactly. This phone call went deep underground, you see, deep beneath the Earth's roots, and it was touching on some of the cave mushrooms. These cave mushrooms would grow far and wide, but are also able to listen because they are spores and they grow their mycelium, you see. And that was really how Sir Pingus III not only discovered the beef that he was having with the first lobster Hitler, but he also discovered a new form of telecommunication by using these mushroom men underneath the ground. Now, it's important to, let me grab my marker here.
I see it.
These mushroom men were of a complex species and status, you see. There were the dotted mushroom men, there were the non-dotted mushroom men, and there were the mushroom kings that ruled all of these lands, and they would be able to say who passed down which information, you see. This would cause a massive hiccup for the first lobster Hitler, as Sir Pingu III had known about this before, and excuse me, class.
Yeah, you're right.
Sir Pingu III had known about this before, and what he had done is actually bribed this mushroom king so that he would hide the information from the lobsters, you see. The Mushroom King, now, you may think was only made up of one measly mushroom, but in fact, the Mushroom King had been alive for so long that there were other forms of fungus and spores sprouting off of him, as you can see here. The Mushroom King was oftentimes revered as the one with the largest amount of mushrooms up top, you see.
And that's what made him king.
Really what
we're gonna take over
exactly right. Exactly
I
right.
got it.
That is what indicated
here.
your seniority, if you will, as a mushroom king. It's the amount of mushrooms that you have growing on top of you. You see,
Cool about this.
this man down here is really the head bassist. Will give him a little crown because
Yeah.
he was able to control a massive colony of mushrooms. Therefore, this would be one of the first mushroom kings. Now, it's important to note these mushroom kings would have only existed deep beneath the Earth's surface.
I think it's because
Why
like
is this, you may be wondering? Why is this? Good question.
they have to
Now,
you have to render all
these
that.
underground subterranean mushrooms had to seek refuge because of what the crabs and crustaceans were doing to them before. They were eating and nibbling on these mushrooms for years prior, you see. It wasn't really until Sir Pengu III came into contact with them that it became a massive worldwide battle, really, between the crabs, the lobsters, and the penguins. But it was a geographical battle. That's important to note. The crabs and the lobster people preferred to battle in deep-sea oceanic states, whereas the penguins thrived on a 50% land, 50% water basis, you see. When the crabs and lobsters had to fight the penguins on land, they were no use. The penguins would simply slip and slide on their bellies, traveling at over 3,000 miles per hour. They would pierce straight through these lobsters and crab people, and they didn't even stand a chance.
There were
because
ice
of
crabs?
The penguins. Ooh, an excellent question. Ice crabs won't actually come into play until about another 150 years. But we did have a very close...
The government got hacked and then the social...
we did have a very close... Some bozo's trying to tell me, Nimrod. Fuck off.
Okay.
Now, as I was saying, these... I totally lost my train of thought now because of this bozo.
Oh, it's okay. Something about ice crabs.
Right. We're just gonna... Nope. Oh,
Nope.
That's right.
Nope.
That's right. Exactly right.
Yes.
Now, as I was saying before, there are the blue shell crabs, the hermit shell crabs, and the ice crabs. These three groups of crabs would actually make up some of the philosophies that made up the greater crab society, you see. These three groups were mainly isolated from the region of Crabopolis. Crabopolis didn't want too much to do with these blue and ice crabs because they saw them as foreign assets. Make sure you write that down. That'll be on the test later.
Okay.
Foreign assets. Now, these foreign assets proved a greater problem to the total crab society because these ice crabs would oftentimes freeze the ground they walked on. Thus, when they were meandering through the walls of Crabopolis, they would set traps unintentionally against all their brothers, you see. And that really just created nothing but problems for the brothers, you see.
Too smart for their own good.
What happened?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm already dead.
where'd he go?
No, did they get kicked?
Did he?
Avatar thing with you.
Man, I was kind of interested in that guy's story.
I'm gonna. I can't say that.
Dude, she wasn't
Okay.
like liking it. It's an anime thing.
No, worse.
Okay.